Right, go ahead, take care of your beard. So let me just tell you about what I've been doing before I announce everybody. The video's rolling, everybody. But I've been watching. I've been zoning out on Netflix on Turkish movies about actors and storylines and series in Istanbul, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is just so exciting. The cinematography is beautiful and everything is nice. Anyway, enough of that. Hey everybody, this is Lisa Riley, and I had to digress there for a few minutes. This is Lisa Riley, and I am the founder of ODOS Synergy Services, Women of Color Entrepreneur Network, Global Entrepreneur Network, and we got established as a 501c3 in 2019 and had 2 Women of Color Economic Development Conferences. And right now, this year, we're excited because we're doing a series of webinars and education. Every Monday, Hot Topics Monday, we have a speaker. Last week we did something on mental health, health advocacy. And this week, even though it's not Monday, I needed to fit my dear friend in. So we could talk about this heavy topic of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and why we need to get up to speed and and go to the site if you want some information. You can't hear me. You can't hear me because of the internet. Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you now, but you were going in and out.
So the internet is a little janky here, right?
Okay.
So when I do like this, that'll let you know when I'm out. So anyway, we're going to be having a series of speakers for the next couple of months. I'm really excited to have Yusef Wateef here, and my friend I met a year ago in his global chat, and he had some So we have him here today to talk about Bitcoin. He has a financial background, financial services. He started his career in financial services for 10 years here in the United States. And he is a world traveler. He's traveled around the world. He'll tell you some of the interesting places he's been to. And now he's in Brazil, São Paulo, Brazil. Am I pronouncing that right?
Well, we don't have in the English language any way to pronounce the little squiggly line over the A because it's a nasal. São Paulo.
São Paulo. And I have to
come down and we'll practice. When you come visit me, we'll practice how to say it.
I'm coming. You invited me before, and I'm coming. But Yusef, tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey. You started out in the United States in financial services, and then you decided you wanted to see the world. And now you're a global entrepreneur. Tell us about how you came to that point and where you are now.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure and a treat, and you're someone, whenever you call, I'll be there. I was born in Niagara Falls, New York. I went to school in the United States. I have 2 degrees. I worked, previous to what I'm doing now, I worked for 9 years as a financial professional with New York Life Insurance and Northwestern Mutual Financial Network. I made my bones dealing specifically with mutual funds and cash value life insurance as a means of stored value, cash accumulation, tax avoidance through legal means. I semi-retired when I was 37 and a half years old. What does semi-retire mean? It doesn't mean I'll never work again. It just means I was able to walk away at 37 with 2 university degrees, no college debt because I only purchased as much college as I could afford.
You learned that early. You were smart. You learned that early.
Well, here's what working in the financial business teaches you. It's never how much you make, it's how much you earn and how much you save. It's never how much you make, it's how much you save. And what are people saving for? They're saving for the ability to say, one day, I want to live in a beautiful place with a relaxed atmosphere and enjoy the fruits of my labor. When you work in the United States, the cost of living, even for someone at a middle class or higher income level, the cost of living is so extraordinarily high that it's almost impossible. It's almost as if, and this is conspiracy guy coming out, it's almost as if it's designed to make sure you can never really get out until you're almost dead.
It is.
So I walked away and I was able to, I've lived in 15 countries throughout my life. Brazil holds a lot of economic opportunities, social opportunities. So I came to Sao Paulo, and it's the financial and business capital of the city. So I think the 12th largest city in the world.
Wow.
And now I'm a permanent resident here. I'll have my passport here soon. For those who may ask, there is no problem with living in the United States and Brazil. Both passports can live simultaneously. Now I have a business as an editor, copy editor, proofreader. If you have a book that needs to be put together, if you have something that needs to be done at a university English level, I coach people for everything from TED Talks to right now I write executive level resumes, and I write more resumes now than I'm comfortable with because there are a lot of people who don't know where they're going. The cost of living here is so affordable that I'm no longer working 40 hours a week to still live comfortably. I still save 20% of my income, but when you are in a place like this with a job that still earns money in cryptocurrency, of course, United States dollar, pound sterling, euro, you basically get to pull off the win.
Man, and you're writing a book, right? You're writing this stuff.
I've been writing this book forever. I don't know if it's ever going to be finished.
I think it will be. I'm going to push you. It's a blueprint. We met a sister. We talked to a sister in Cancun. I'll share that with you. I don't know if you've met. Her last name is Levine. I can't think right now. I just interviewed her a week or two ago. But she wrote a blueprint to our toxic relationship with America. I'll tell you about that later. Go ahead.
It is. Cryptocurrency is one of the ways that, particularly for Black Americans, it exposes the toxic relationship that America has with us because we were never the aggressors. The toxic relationship manifests itself as such. Cryptocurrency allows the average person to do something that wealthy people were allowed to do since the beginning of time. That is, store your money in a private place for you and take it wherever you want. Now, here's the rub. We don't owe America anything. And I say this publicly and I say this out loud. The toxic relationship comes from knowing that the United States did such a great job of abusing and mistreating us that for any of us to get the opportunity to take what we've earned and go live someplace better, we should feel no guilt or shame. Yet every day I sit down with people. I am not a counselor, but a lot of people hire me for coaching. I sit down with people who deal with survivor's guilt, being able to say, I finally got to the point where I can leave, and now I'm part of the brain drain. And brain drain is when the best and brightest leave. I can tell you there is a thriving community of educated Black people that will benefit any city they lived in who just leave America.
Right.
And a lot of them feel guilty because those of us who are worthy but unable can't. I have cousins and relatives that couldn't leave, and I had to deal with knowing I'm going to go live my best life knowing that they deserve to be able to leave, but they can't because they didn't get the education.
But that's why I was drawn to your global group last year, because you had done something that a lot of us are afraid to do, or we're conditioned that we can't do this. And so you're talking to people all over the world every day, brothers and sisters that made that transition and have the will to do so.
So that's what it does. And cryptocurrency, I became involved in cryptocurrency when I lived in Shanghai, China, which was probably 8 years ago, maybe 9. And it was first pointed out to me as something the Chinese government, which is the second most repressive government in the world, I would say North Korea is number 1, they couldn't get rid of it. There was something about this thing called cryptocurrency that they were terrified of, and they could not get any foothold. So I started researching it. I found people involved with it. I started to learn what it was. I got an online certification with it through arguably one of the best places to do it. Part of it was through Andreas Antonopoulos, if anyone knows him.
Yeah,
and that's when
I saw one of his videos. Okay.
Yeah, he's amazing. And so what it did is it allowed me to be in a situation to say, well, wait a minute. As long as and I want to be clear, as long as I pay my taxes, where I store my money, it's up to me. So now, anywhere in the world I go, I have a store of value that, as opposed to saying, and this may start to get on the technical end, as opposed to saying it isn't attached to anything as a pejorative, the value of Bitcoin is not attached to any one country. So now, whether or not my country or one of my clients' countries starts to behave badly, I'm not at risk of the value of my cryptocurrency dropping because one bad leader has done something to allow the value of the currency to drop.
Correct. I love it. What's the fear that we have? Why can, as a Black community, why haven't we moved forward to embrace this concept and learn how to? Because one of the things I want to get to in the future, and I think you've been watching me and seeing me grow a little bit, is ultimately making that connection with U.S. entrepreneurs, specifically female, African American, Black and brown entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, and global female entrepreneurs, how we can live our best lives and do our business, or bridge those relationships and partner with global entrepreneurs in business, in this whole global market space. Moving in that direction, building that connection, educating us to make those connections and build those relationships. But why can't we get there? What's the problem? You see everything from the outside. You guys still have a little bit more clarity about what's happening in the United States than we do here, because we're so, we're in a vacuum.
Well, we can't forget something that's very uncomfortable. You, me, I suspect the people watching, we're not average people. My cousins, who are average Americans, got what America gave them as far as a mediocre education and no opportunity. Once you get past that, and I stress this heavily and I get a lot of flack for it, despite how people talk about having a university or a college education isn't worth it anymore, it is. What's not worth it, and this is me putting on my financial professional hat again, it's not worth it to pay for something that you couldn't afford. It's not worth it to go to a school that you need to put yourself in hock for. There are a lot of white Americans who can go through life without a university degree and be just fine because they will be given opportunities. You won't. I can tell you none of my global success would be possible without an education. I'm not here to tell someone what to get an education in, but I can tell you that without it, you're dead in the water. You don't get to be globally competitive because most of the companies,
globally competitive. We need to become global. That's your book. Sorry, go ahead.
Ooh, thank you.
I'm going to write your foreword.
Globally competitive. Well, and here's what ends up happening. A lot of people think of someone traveling overseas as a temporary state. They think of an expat as someone who can never become an immigrant, and they think of it as, I'm just going to go for 3 months and have fun. They don't think when I go, well, if I do take my first trip abroad and I leave for 2 weeks, why not schedule time in there? If I'm gone for 2 weeks, schedule 1 week where I'm meeting people in my industry. Why not say, if in the United States I'm a restaurant entrepreneur, go online and say, well, the first week I'm going to the city of Sao Paulo, Brazil, I'm going to have fun. But then that second week, I'm going to go online and find who are the biggest and best Black entrepreneurs of any language and see if I can just book a time to have coffee with them and tell them, hey, I'm an American. This is what I do for a living. You and I do the same thing. I'd love to talk to you about your life there. What does that cost you? Nothing. If you do that in the morning, that might even, now I'm not a tax professional, that might even be a write-off if you can bill it as a business trip.
I love it. I'm coming to Brazil on a business trip.
And that's something that most people don't get. Most people don't understand that I look at, and I've written about this on my YouTube channel. I hope you can flash that on the screen. I tell people all the time, don't look at your job that you may not be happy with or want to escape from as just a job. Think of yourself as a spy. You're going to work that job, and I tell people to work for corporate America for 10 years. And at 10 years, despite what they try to bribe you with, get out. Well, how do you prepare to get out? You start by building up a cryptocurrency account. You start by putting a percentage of your salary there. You start by learning everything that your job does, writing down every contact you've ever made, so that when you bail with more than just the meager salary they paid you, because no business pays you what you're worth. That's not how businesses make profit. You bail out of it with an understanding of, this is how I start my own.
What's the name of your show on YouTube?
Type in Yusef Wateef, Yusef Wateef. To the best of my knowledge, I'm the only one there.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. You want to chance me trying to go into Google?
You should be able to share screen.
Hold on. Let's do that. Okay. Brace yourself. Are you still there?
Yep. And if you, in the Google bar at the top, open a new one, just hit the plus sign. And if
we
you
went
type
through this
in,
before. I'm challenged, technically challenged.
just type in my name, Yusef Wateef, and then space YouTube.
YouTube. Okay. There you go.
And let's see. And click that top one, yeah.
No.
I know YouTube just did some kind of a massive upgrade. There, that's me.
Yeah. My internet is a little late. There you go. There he is. That signature intro, shaving his mustache. World
hey, and be sure to click subscribe. How dare you not have clicked the subscribe button?
Yusef Wateef, back in the game.
Well, in any case, I hope everybody can follow me there as well. And so that's what cryptocurrency does. It allows you the ability to say, I can go anywhere. It allows you the ability to say, I don't have any faith that the American Social Security system, it will be there when it's time for me. I don't have any faith that the American banking system is going to hold up. Because once we remove ourselves from, quote unquote, being American, whatever that means for Black people, and look at it objectively, I don't want to be stuck in any one place where, I mean, what are we going through right now all over the world? Right now, the coronavirus is exposing the world. It's exposing whether or not your system of government or financial planning, both on a federal, state, and personal family level, was really put together well.
Correct.
And that's what it is. And I don't want to, I'm hoping, is there anybody in the comment section, if anybody wants to start asking any quote unquote technical questions for us to get into?
Hey, Kelly?
Yes.
You got any questions for our buddy here? You're the Bitcoin.
I do, Yusef. Can you hear me fine?
I hear you just fine. Kelly, where are you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I can hear you just fine.
We can hear you. Where are you?
Okay.
He wants to know where do you live?
Live in Stockton, California, but I am in the process. I'm almost home, driving from Sacramento, California. And I have a question for you. I am also into Bitcoin. I've been into it. This is my about third year, and I do understand a lot of it very well. Could you explain a little bit about the halving?
Here we go. You want to jump into the deep end of the pool.
No, we don't, because it's coming up. We want to get into this because it's coming up now. We want to check it out.
Okay. Cryptocurrency holds its value because unlike a government, they can just print money forever until the paper is worth nothing. Cryptocurrency over a period of time in regular intervals will decrease in number and availability, thus forcing scarcity, thus securing the value. The halving is literally going to be that, 50% less.
Woohoo!
Uh-oh, I don't hear anymore. Are you there?
She's driving. Kelly, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I had a little phase out for a minute, but yes, I'm here.
So the halving is coming up, right?
It's coming up on the 12th.
On the 12th of, what's today? Today's the 7th?
Yep.
Now, here's another thing I want to ask. And this is where it's going to get interesting. I will actually make a statement, might be a little controversial. Don't get off your plans. A lot of people are going to adjust their cryptocurrency and investment plans based on the halving. Don't. If you have a financial plan, for example, I am a buy and hold combined with dollar cost averaging. If your financial plan did not include
but
saying,
I'm sorry, my internet went out. What did you just say? Don't get off your plan and what?
don't get off your plan. If you have a financial plan, for example, I use dollar cost averaging. Every time I earn a client and that client gives me a contract and that client pays me, I have a percentage of every penny I earn that goes to cryptocurrency. Two, I use buy and hold, meaning I'm not here to sell, I'm here to hold. What does that mean?
Exactly.
Well, what that means is it allows me a situation where I can say, if I didn't have a plan for second quarter, May 12th, to change my purchasing style or period, don't change it now. You don't change in the middle of the game. You don't look at the halving and say, oh, I want to do this differently. No, you don't do that.
But how often does the halving come up?
Every 4 years.
That's the problem. It's not a problem, but
Problem, that's amazing. I'm so glad, because what that means is we can look at the dates and say, I know that my cryptocurrency will be more scarce and more valuable and retain its value.
in 4
It's
years.
not going to be subject to anybody saying in a government, you know, we need money to pay off this, to pay off that. There is, and we can discuss this separately, there are people who don't want reparations, who said that if we pay reparations to Black people, it would wreck the economy because we couldn't pay it. However, the government stimulus package is saying, well, wait a minute, if they've got the money for that and it hasn't destroyed the economy yet, they
Why
could
not
have
pay reparations?
paid us. Makes you think, almost as if they just don't care about Black people.
And why are we moving out of the country? Because that reason. Why are Black people moving out of the country? To have a better quality of life, to get hopefully better health care, depending on what country that they go to. And hey, Marlise, they don't have to be exposed to the caliber of racism and disparity that we're exposed to in the United States. Hey, Marlise, can you mute your phone, my love? You understand what I just said? Thank you, Marlise. Yusef, that's why a lot of people are leaving the country, because they saw all of this up front. You've been talking to a lot of economists.
Yes,
Actually, you have one economist in.
Someone is playing their television in the background and it's hard. I can't hear it. I can't hear. Someone was playing their television in the background and it.
Okay, there you go. So you have
Okay.
a regular guest on your YouTube channel, a brother from the Bahamas, who is a international economist. Somebody that you.
Yeah, his name is Jeremy Stevens. He's from Barbados, and he is a very well-respected professional economist. And we often go to war because he has more faith in civilization than I do. Remember, being Black in his country is a very different experience. There, almost everyone is Black, so the good guys, bad guys, and in between are Black. So their issues are different. Yes. Yeah.
Well, they have more color. Well,
Yes.
everybody's Black, so it's yeah.
Exactly.
Could I, speaking of this subject, Yusef, this is Wanda.
Hello, Wanda.
I know in Brazil, you know, you guys just elected a man who's much like Trump. And I know there's a lot of discrimination still in Brazil, especially with Afro-Brazilians. And I think that sometimes just in other countries, in France, things of that nature, African Americans are treated a little bit differently in the culture. So I just wanted to know, has that affected you any type of racism over there has affected you at any point?
I will tell you that this is how it works in Brazil that I've lived in for 5 years. One, in all 15 countries that I've ever been to in my life and lived in for years at a time, including the United States, there is no place that is nice to Black people. There is a myth of some Shangri-La where we can go and being Black is this awesome thing. There isn't. Two, for Brazil, I will tell you, I'm still parsing out. There is a distinction between race and class. One of the things that I am privileged enough to know is that it's kind of like this. In the United States, I'm going to give an example. Do you remember Skip Gates? When he was arrested on his own front lawn for entering his own house with identification. The police said, no, you look like a criminal. And this man is an internationally recognized educator. Someone could have simply Googled his name, and they chose not to. Not that they didn't know who he was, but the effort was there to simply humiliate a successful Black man. Now, let's take that same situation here. I don't live in the United States. I didn't live in poverty. And in Brazil, I don't live in poverty. What that means is, by definition of where I live, the things I do, and the places that I go, I'm not looked at as someone they're going to victimize. They will look at me and say, that guy is not the kind of Black people that we want to oppress because he's not poor. Being not poor carries a significant weight. Because, and this is something, I don't know if we'll ever solve this. When you're Black and you do have money in the United States, the police will still shoot you in the face. You will still be beaten to death on the side of the road by, anyone. You can be jogging in your own neighborhood and murdered by a father and son of white Americans, and there's nothing that can save you. Whereas here, by definition of where I am and what I do, there is a quick calculus that tells them, from the way that I dress, the way that I walk, and where I live, no, we don't want that guy because he may be someone with a voice. He is a different kind of person. And I've dealt with so many of my white clients who will say to me, well, you're Black, but you're not Black. And I'm thinking, yes, I am. Because in their opinion, Black is associated with the uneducated and the poor, whereas because I'm universally educated and not poor, an independent business owner, in their interesting mental calculus, they want to disassociate themselves. So when you come to hang out with me, when you and Lisa come to hang out with me, you'll have a very different experience.
Yeah.
I will also.
But just
I apologize.
one second. Okay, so let's go back to the way they look at you. Because OJ, the way they looked at OJ and Brentwood was, he's not Black, he's one of us, same type of thing. But I do know that rich people, poor people weren't able to vote in Brazil until 1988, right? And so the difference between poor and Black, where most of the Blacks in Brazil or Afro-Brazilians were poor, right? So so there's like a little kind of funny line there. But I hear what you're saying. So go ahead.
Can I?
Yeah, well, no.
Can I interject something too? Also, hold that thought, please. When we travel, Black Americans travel, we're not treated as second-class citizens because they want our money. But when we go to that country, Paris, Brazil, Mexico, the Black folks are treated as second-class citizens, right? Because they're native of that country. So I just wanted to make that point too. I'm hearing and I'm seeing a lot of that.
Except in South Africa, but go ahead.
I would go even deeper and say a first-class citizen is a middle-class or above white Brazilian. A second-class citizen is a poor Brazilian white person. A third-class citizen is a non-white Brazilian who is also poor. That's what I would say first. That's how I differentiate it. Now, I will also tell you, you will also see a stark difference. One of the things that I learned when I started traveling is they said, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, even if you start to learn the language, the first thing you should say to someone is hello. And I said, well, is hello some kind of a universal greeting in English that I don't know about? They said no, because when you're looked at as a Black American, they're going to treat you very different than they would a person from Zimbabwe, Ghana, Barbados, Jamaica. Yeah. You immediately jump to the top of the list because they don't come from countries with the weight of currency behind them that you do. So exactly. You will immediately be treated differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
The Black American currency. I just thought of that. I love that. And that's something that we need to expound on later, because Jamie Levine, that wrote the book about our toxic relationship with America, and she spells America Amerikakka, out of Cancun, who you'll meet later, right? She talks about that and leaving New Orleans and moving to Cancun for a better lifestyle, and she and her partner, and living a great life, but they haven't seen any kind of disparity or any major problems or anything like that. But Cancun is a major tourist area, right? So you're not going to see, versus like, well, I want to go to, I have a thing about Playa del Carmen because, we talked about this, and we'll be talking about this in a couple of months. There's a large contingency of African American.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know quite a few. Yeah.
Right. The sisters are out there. It's a community. People don't believe me when I say that. But Playa del Carmen is kind of like a little soft spot as well. But you might see the disparity, like Oaxaca, where all of the blacks were dumped, the Africans were dumped during slavery, right, by the Spaniards, right? And Oaxaca, my mechanic, his family is from Oaxaca, and he says, Lisa, my people look just like you. Now, he's fair-skinned with blue eyes, right? Bluish green eyes. His relatives look like me and you. He said, you will love Oaxaca. He says, you want to go to Oaxaca when you go back to Mexico? I'll hook you up with my family, and they'll treat you very well. But that is where a lot of the disparity exists because of the color of their skin. Anyway, that's a whole nother level that I want to talk about in the future. It's very interesting.
Definitely. And I want to go back. I want to make sure that I fully explored the question that she asked me. Is there anything that you feel I didn't answer completely?
Wanda.
Oh, no, you answered me completely. Thank you.
Okay.
And I am complete.
She sure is. She's one of the completest sisters that I know in my life. I love this dialogue, and it's been like almost 30 minutes or so. Any other questions? Kelly, Marlise. Marlise just jumped on. Marlise is one of my girlfriends she's going to be on in a couple of weeks. Yusef, she is living in New Orleans. We went to San Jose State to college together and met in a dance class, and here we are many years later, we're connecting spiritually. But Marlise, do you have any questions for our brother here?
No, I don't have any questions. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to work. For some reason, the interface of Zoom is different on my phone, and I'm used to being on my computer. I'm sorry for the background noise, but I don't have any questions. I just have a lot of memories that were struck for me as I was listening to him speak, because I've traveled a lot as well, and and funny stories that came to my mind that aren't funny, but actually generated a lot of shame in the moment. We had a performance that we were doing not in a country where there is predominantly Black. We were actually in Germany, and the performance space did not have a toilet for us. We had to either go in a bucket or go down. This was in Germany. This was in Munich.
What year?
Oh, this was about 1986.
Tell him a little backstory on you, Marlise, if you got a minute.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm a choreographer and director. That's what I do by trade, and along the way have developed many healing modalities that have worked in conjunction with the artistry. And most people know my craft from doing Rent, the musical. Most people know that. But anyways, I've had an opportunity to travel all around the world. And I was actually working with urban bush women at that time.
Yeah.
So we were performing in this space. And I remember after we had this experience with no toilet, a bucket, or run down the block to another space, house or something. At the end of this experience, we all go outside, and none of us had noticed that there were Black caricatures, literally bones in the nose, caricatures of Black people with oversized lips and eyes and noses that were meant to, in our experience of it in that moment, demean, but we never saw it going into the building. And after the performance, we stood outside and we looked back up at this building because we were going to take a picture in front of it. And it changed the whole experience of what we just lived through. Suddenly, the bucket, using the bucket to go to the bathroom took on a whole different experience. And I have many stories like that.
That's crazy.
Of traveling and discovering that,
Wow. So Marlise is going to be speaking with us in a couple of weeks, you guys. And so.
Uh-oh.
I can't hear you.
I'm going to mute my thing because I think maybe I'm causing your mic to go in and out.
Yeah. Okay, we're back. So,
Can I address something?
Yeah, go ahead, please. This is awesome.
I saw something pop up in the comments says, how do we get started with Bitcoin?
Yeah, I was getting to that. Yeah, give us some tips on how to get started.
I'll show you one thing you can do. Can you share the screen again on the YouTube for me? And I'm going to show you what you can type in there. That'll be a good place to begin. And it's also part of a...
I have it.
Okay, now in the search part, click the little search, the little, no, down on my screen, under the subscribe button. There's a magnifying glass under the search button.
Under,
no,
right
up.
Oh, here.
Yeah, that one. Click how to start Bitcoin.
That was my next question, Yusef, because I want you to come back so we can.
And we'll go through some technical, how to set up your wallets and things like that.
And
See
Kelly,
enter.
See what?
There, there, ha.
Where?
Look at the screen.
Oh, here it is. Okay. So you want me to send everybody this one?
No. Well, you can send everyone that link, and what I will also do is just privately with you and your audience, if you'd like to sit down one day and everyone can have their computer on and their phone out, I can show everyone how to download a cryptocurrency wallet. I can show everyone a way to begin purchasing cryptocurrency, things like that.
Love it.
How do you avoid like the, well, and I know you maybe will address this at another time, but I was told that there's a lot of fraud in Bitcoin. How do you know what's good and what's not?
When you say fraud, I'll tell you what I see often, and you can tell me if this is what it is. Think of cryptocurrency, and your Bitcoin names, addresses, and numbers are just as private as your social security number and the linking number to your bank account. What I find is that people they don't discern who they give their information to. They'll see something in an email or someone saying, hey, all you have to do is give me this information and that information, and you can do this or you can do that. It's no different than going into someone's bank account. When you get your cryptocurrency numbers, those numbers are yours privately. Those numbers are not to be shared with a non-credible source. You would not go into a small restaurant on the side of the road where they only deal in cash and everybody there looks kind of sketchy and whip out your credit card. But people do that online all the time. If you're going to use cryptocurrency, go to legitimate sources. But what I find is that...
Yeah, Kelly says that all the time. Go ahead, Kelly.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What you say?
But that's what I find, and they say, well, there's a lot of fraud in cryptocurrency. I would say there is as much fraud in cryptocurrency as there is in any currency.
Right. I think I was talking more about the purchasing of the Bitcoin or the investing in it. On the investing side is what I think I was.
Okay.
Hearing.
Okay. Then let's go to the investment side. Here's the thing about the investment part. Cryptocurrency was very specifically engineered to not be something that you can put together in large groups. It should not be bankable. It is very specifically engineered for the individual to be able to use it easily, but an institution cannot. There is no way for an institute to benefit from your purchasing Bitcoin because it doesn't divide itself that way. You can't make an interest share off someone's cryptocurrency. There is no legitimate bulk purchasing or investor cryptocurrency here. It doesn't work that way. But
Okay,
people
so
find that, go ahead.
whoops, wrong way. I'm muting and unmuting myself. So then what would be the benefit for me as the individual to have one, a cryptocurrency account, and two, to invest in cryptocurrency? What would the potential benefit be?
I'll go bigger than that. As an individual, you should invest somewhere, and cryptocurrency should be a part of that portfolio. Every one of us should have a fundamental understanding of, and I would say go to Investopedia, I would say find legitimate sources. What are stocks? What are bonds? What is cryptocurrency? And have a portfolio that consists of those three things. Now, you can debate what percentage of what. Are you looking at a portfolio that's 40-20-20, 10-10-80, but you should have a functional working knowledge of what they are and what they are not. With cryptocurrency, every one of us should have some place that they can store their money that will retain its value regardless of what our country does, how the currency behaves, and if at any point you decide to leave the United States, or, and here's a big one, the United States becomes even more openly hostile to you and you may be expelled, that you can say, you know what, I'm just going to pick up my passport, get on a plane, call Wateef and say, hey, Wat, can you meet me at the airport? And I'm going to say, sure. You don't have to worry about, wait a minute, let me go to the bank, withdraw this money, deposit it into a Brazilian bank. Now it's going to take this time. And oh, by the way, they're going to give you a haircut because they're going to take an extremely large chunk. They're going to ask you all kinds of questions as if, and as well they should. Whereas with cryptocurrency, I can just say, you know what, guys? I like Brazil. I think I'm going to go to Colombia tomorrow. So I'm just going to pack a backpack and go. And when I get there, I'll find a place to buy something with cryptocurrency or find an open cryptocurrency market and sell for cash some of my cryptocurrency.
And believe you me, you do not want to go to a bank in Brazil. You will stand in line forever. The light might go out.
Well, here's the thing. Brazil, Sao Paulo is a very different city because it's a jewel of South America. What city were you in?
Oh, I was in Recife. I was in Rio, and I was in Maricube de Caliente, wherever that beach is, where a lot of the slaves came in. I've been to a lot of different, in Brasilia.
Você fala português bem?
No, não falo português.
Um pouco ou pouco?
Um pouco.
So,
obrigado.
Thank you.
So, this is exciting. And we don't.
One more question about this cryptocurrency, because I really do think the dollar is going down.
Well, okay.
Very soon.
Let's talk about. I was getting ready to say that too, but yeah.
It's losing its value because I see the yuan. People are trading in yuans now, and it's a whole lot of things that are happening on the international market.
But Black people don't understand crypto. They're afraid of it. Yeah. They don't believe in the value of it because we're not educated on it.
Well, it's change too. Everybody doesn't like change,
but the dollar is dying.
They said the same thing about the internet. Yeah, and the dollar is dying. Oh, the internet's down. We don't know what that thing is.
I just lost the Cryptopedia link. I was looking for it because I got excited there for a minute. But we want to come back, Yusef, and have some sessions on how to open up. So I opened up a bank account, a Bank of America account, because all the banks in the United States are now accepting cryptocurrency, right? Or not all of them. Because I have
most of the major banks, and I opened up a bank account at Bank of America. So I need to start investing because they're eating up my little the money that
Lisa, you're frozen.
Do business in other countries.
Can you repeat it? I can't hear you.
So how we doing? Yeah, my internet is going in and out. So, you know, one, I want to learn and understand cryptocurrency and also educate my community and women of color as we talk about, you know, global investment, building our businesses globally and economically around the world, because we're in a couple of months, we're going to be talking to sisters that live in other countries. And Yusef will probably be the only man on that forum in July or August timeframe because he's my global connection. But we want to be talking about how we can bridge the relationship and gap to entrepreneurs, sister entrepreneurs in the United States and sister entrepreneurs in other countries. But we need to understand global economies, right? We need to understand if we travel, if we go to other countries, if we want to do business in other countries, if we want to go to Ghana or Africa, we need to understand global economies and how the whole system works. So I want to start talking about at some point a series of workshops and courses that we can take. And you mentioned Andreas. I don't know if his certification is available in the United States, but I can look that up.
Yeah, it is. There's, you know, in the video, I point out where I registered for his class. There was a 12-week course, and I can say I studied for probably half an hour a day. Once a week, they had a live session through video like this, and there was a weekly quiz, 12 over the course of 12 weeks, and it went through soup to nuts, a deep dive on cryptocurrency, and it was one of the best investments of time I've ever had.
Okay.
It gave me all the basics and information.
Yusef, this is Kelly.
Hello. Hi, Kelly.
How are you? I have a question. I'm listening to some people that are getting into crypto. What is the difference between investing in crypto as doing it yourself, going on the exchange, buying it yourself, versus going through a Ameritrade or some stock company?
I would tell you, you would need to make the same investment of time in learning what they were investing in, whether you were doing it yourself or through Ameritrade. What you need to do is know what it is. So if you went to Ameritrade and said, hey, I want you guys to invest, I wouldn't just trust someone to invest it. I would say, what are you investing in? And then when they gave me the answers, I would then go back and research each one of those. But here's the secret. You would have to learn all that to invest for yourself anyway. Whatever time you have available, you need to arm yourself with this information. You need to arm yourself with understanding the fundamentals of cryptocurrency, and as a subcategory, Bitcoin. There are hundreds of cryptocurrency. Don't worry about them. Learn the fundamentals of just Bitcoin. Download the Bitcoin white paper, which is, I want to say, 10 pages of, you know, fundamental writing. Go online. Follow Andreas Antonopoulos. Follow me. I do a little bit on crypto, and start figuring out exactly what Bitcoin is, what it can do. Learn how to download it to your phone. Learn how to purchase your Bitcoin. Learn how to purchase your Bitcoin privately. And when I say privately, one of the side businesses I have is people pay me to teach them how to set up a cryptocurrency account outside of all their bank accounts, outside of anything they're registered with, so they have something in their back pocket that is theirs and no one else's.
That's what I do. I do the same.
Yeah.
But my part of my question, the reason I asked that is because I've told a few people and explained to them about Bitcoin, even set up some wallets and different things for them, showed them how to get involved. And then they turn around and go to Ameritrade or something like that. And I was wondering, is the dollar value different when you buy it as a stock versus purchasing it yourself?
Well, you can't buy cryptocurrency as a stock. That's a confusing statement.
Well, it is confusing, but how are they? That's how they're talking about their. Let me see. What did I read yesterday about? It was TD Ameritrade and another stock company that are purchased. You could purchase it as a what do they call it? it's not a, it's, they don't, it's, um, uh, oh my goodness, I can't even think of the name of what I want
Well,
to
let me
say.
tell you
It's
something that I
a
have seen.
certificate, like a certificate.
That sounds exactly like what I would expect any banking institution anywhere in the world to try. They're using language you're familiar with to sell you something that shouldn't be sold in that package, and in the meantime, taking a healthy cut off the top. They're saying,
Yeah.
oh, we can package these together for you. You can package it. If you've
Yes,
got
as a
$100,
CD, as a
yeah, well,
CD.
that's, which is wild. Like, how that makes any sense? But here's the problem. I have the
To
luxury
me,
of
it
knowing what it
doesn't.
is. It doesn't make any sense at all, but I have the privilege of knowing what I'm talking about. Most people come home from work, deal with the family, and they're just trying to put some money away to get out. And that's the eternal problem that I think I would love to have even more of a conversation with Lisa and all of you
Yeah,
about. Here's
we
where we keep
will.
going back to. You have to have the time to learn how to get out of the cage. And that's the kicker. A lot of us don't have the time. I mean, I can say, maybe I'm smart and maybe I'm this and that. No, I'm not. At a very young age, I had the time to invest in education. I had the time to go in and figure out what financial literacy was and realize, newsflash, it's not hard. All you have to do is be able to invest the time, the hours to learn it.
That's right.
Okay. Well, let's
And
talk
when those
about
people,
that.
let me say one thing real quick. When you
Sure,
said
sure.
you have people and you set up wallets for them and things like that, are they your clients?
Yes.
Okay, now, if they've paid you for that service, and I can say this to you as an entrepreneur who runs a couple of different businesses, you can't carry that with you. If they paid you for a service and you did your service ethically and well, and they don't want to take the wisdom that they paid you for, you got to let it go. Because as an independent
Exactly.
business owner, you can't carry that on your heart. If I had a nickel for everybody who came to me once, asked for the information, got the information, didn't use the information, and come back to me next year saying, oh, I think I screwed up. Should I have done this? And I said, okay, well, listen, why don't you book another session? And they say, well, you helped me with it once. Yeah, I'll help you again, but you're going to pay me again because you already purchased my time. Don't carry
That's
that with
right.
you because not everybody is smart enough to listen to the right source.
It's okay. I got you. Thank you.
Any other questions? So, Yusef, as always, this has been phenomenal, and I appreciate your time. I'm going to be following up with you so we can talk more about this to have you back, because I think it's really important, and I think I need to know. So if I need to know, my sisters on here need to know as well, and I'd love to see some kind of ODOS, you know, training program or educational program about digital money. And so we're going to talk about this more. Any last words, anybody? I just posted Kelly's radio station. Also, Yusef, Kelly has a radio station and a podcasting service, so we're going to be talking to you about that later on. She's one of my partners, and she has, what, 100 plus stations around the world, Kelly?
We're worldwide. We're worldwide. Our station reaches everywhere, and we're also joining in with other independent worldwide streaming stations. So we just picked up 14 other countries that's listening already, and we're joining forces with some stations out of Canada, Ohio, and they go all across Africa and some different other countries that we weren't in. We go there, but they already have a lot of clientele there. So we're teaming up with other independent stations as well.
And then thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for putting that on there. And you guys can get in contact with Yusef on Hotmail, and also if you have WhatsApp. We're going to have him back very, very soon. We're going to be talking in a couple of months to sisters around the world globally, global sisters that are expats, global citizens. Yusef might have a couple of people. Actually, he does. He knows Roxanne Mugera, who has a YouTube channel out of Mexico, out of Veracruz. She lives in Veracruz.
I think it's Veracruz, yeah.
Veracruz, yeah. She's raising her daughter there and loves the United States. Yusef is posting his YouTube page. Please subscribe to his YouTube page. He has some awesome interviews and sessions on there. We're going to have him back. This has been so interesting. This is our first of many, Yusef, because I'm getting ready to handle the business and educate my community and educate myself so I can become a global citizen one day, come visit you, bring my crew. But we thank you so much. Any parting words, Yusef?
I hope everyone stays
Marlene,
safe no matter where you are.
Wanda? Yep. Yeah, we didn't even get to really dig into the pandemic, and we'll talk about that later. We want to talk about post-pandemic, right? I mean, we know people are being affected around the world, but we want to talk about how we're going to pivot post-pandemic, and we can talk about that in July when we have our ODOS Global event that I'm trying to put together. Pray for me. In the interim, thank you everybody for your time.
Come on, we can't hear you.
We can't hear you, Lisa.